Welcome to Into the Margins, where we dive into the margins to find what makes businesses profitable in order to inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs.
Glad to be here for this one.
Yeah, so did you know that in 2025, a guy washing trash cans in, like, a single suburban neighborhood is actually statistically more likely to reach financial independence than a tech entrepreneur launching some global software app?
I mean, it sounds completely absurd, but it is entirely accurate. We just have this pervasive, almost romanticized myth in the business world, you know?
Right, the idea that you have to invent the next Facebook.
Exactly.
Or build some insanely complex artificial intelligence tool, otherwise you're just failing.
Yeah, it's the unicorn obsession.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, today, we are completely stripping away that illusion. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the ultimate, realistic path to financial independence right now in 2025 through small business ownership.
Which is so crucial because the landscape has completely shifted.
Right, so we are laying out the most viable, profitable models available. We're going to evaluate their real startup costs, their scalability, and, crucially, the actual mechanics of why they succeed or fail.
And that matters because 2025 presents a deeply fractured landscape. We're basically operating in a dual economy.
Okay, unpack that a bit. Dual economy how?
So on one extreme, you have this massive digital scale, right? Facilitated by incredibly mature algorithms and global platforms.
Yeah.
But on the other extreme, there's this huge resurgence in localized, recession-proof analog demand.
Like the trash can guy.
Exactly like the trash can guy. The businesses that are thriving right now live purely at one of those two poles. If you try to play in the middle, you just get crushed.
So the goal is that by the end of this conversation, you, the listener, can look at your own bank account, your own calendar, your own skill set, and figure out exactly which of these models you should start building, like this afternoon.
And the best way to map this out is to start from zero. Let's just assume you have no capital.
$0.
$0. You just have your brain, a laptop, and maybe a willingness to sweat a little bit.
Okay, let's start with the digital side of having zero capital. Freelance services.
Right.
Because if you can write copy or design a logo or edit a short-form video or write code, you instantly have an asset, right?
Yeah, I do.
You can go set up a profile on a marketplace like Upwork or Fiverr and theoretically get paid tomorrow.
Absolutely. The gig economy is still massive.
But let me challenge this right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Because isn't this just a massive race to the bottom?
How do you mean?
Well, if I go on Upwork today to offer video editing, I am competing against people in time zones all over the world.
Yeah.
People who are willing to do the exact same job for like a fraction of my price. How is that a viable path to wealth?
Yeah, so if you stay on the platform forever, it isn't. You're completely right about the global price pressure. That's a real thing.
Right.
But you have to understand the actual mechanism of what these platforms do for you on day one. They solve the single hardest problem in any business. Customer acquisition. I mean, getting someone to actually look at your offer, the marketplace brings the traffic. They spend hundreds of millions on ads, so you don't have to.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Plus, they hold the money in escrow so you don't get scammed, and they basically act as a trust broker between two total strangers.
So you're basically leveraging their massive marketing budget to build your initial reputation.
Precisely. You use them to get your first 5-star reviews. But that leads to the mandatory next step, which in the industry we call the portfolio pivot.
The portfolio pivot, okay.
Right, because if you rely on Fiverr for your entire career, you are essentially just renting an apartment.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, it's convenient, sure, but the landlord takes 20% of your income. They can literally ban your account tomorrow without warning, and you aren't building any permanent equity in a brand.
So you have to eventually build the house.
You build your own standalone portfolio website. You take the testimonials and the cash flow you generated on the marketplace, and you use it to fund your own independence.
And once you pull a client off the platform or you acquire them through your own site, you escape the fees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And more importantly, you stop being listed in a search grid next to 50 cheaper options.
Right. You aren't just a commodity anymore.
You transition from competing on price to competing on your unique value and relationship.
I see the logic there. It's an easy entry point, but there's still a distinct ceiling, right?
There is.
Because whether you are on Upwork or charging premium rates on your own website, you are fundamentally still trading your time for dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And there are only 24 hours in a day.
Which is why the scalability is capped at medium. But before we talk about escaping that time for money trap entirely, we have to look at the physical counterpart to this.
Right. The local service businesses.
Yes.
This is the guy washing the trash cans. home cleaning, lawn care, mobile car detailing, drywall repair, the whole blue-collar, hands-on economy.
Exactly. And while everyone on Twitter is obsessing over the latest software update or AI model, these hyper-local services are quietly building massive wealth.
Why is that, though? Just because of demand?
Because they are structurally recession-proof. I mean, look at historical data. It does not matter what the Federal Reserve does with interest rates. Grass continues to grow, gutters fill with leaves, pipes burst.
The demand is completely inelastic.
Completely. People need their toilets fixed, whether the stock market is up or down.
But how do you actually win in that space today? Because historically, you had to spend a fortune on, like, billboard ads or direct mailers, right? Bell-pack coupons and stuff.
Not anymore. The mechanism of victory for local businesses in 2025 is entirely digital.
Really?
Yeah, it is mastering local SEO, specifically the Google Business Profile. Because Google's algorithm for local searches, it prioritizes geographic proximity over massive corporate marketing budgets.
Okay, let's break that down for the listener. So imagine you live in Austin, Texas, and your driveway is just covered in oil stains. You pull out your phone and type pressure washing near me.
Right, so Google is going to look at your exact GPS location. It is going to scan for pressure washing businesses within, say, a 3-mile radius. Okay.
It isn't looking for the biggest national franchise. It is looking for the guy who has a completely filled out profile, recent photos of clean driveways, and a steady velocity of 5-star reviews from local IP addresses.
Wow. Local IP addresses, it tracks that closely.
Oh, absolutely. So if you have a truck, a power washer, and you relentlessly ask your first 10 neighbors for a Google review, you will literally outrank a $50 million landscaping conglomerate that happens to be headquartered 15 miles away.
That is fascinating. So the geographic limitation is actually your biggest defensive moat.
It is.
You only have to be better marketed than the 3 other guys with trucks in your specific zip code. You don't have to beat the whole world.
Exactly. It's low cost. It's highly probable to succeed if you just do the work. But again, it relies on your physical labor.
Right, which brings up the inevitable problem.
Right.
Eventually your knees give out, or you just want to take a vacation without your income dropping to zero.
Right.
So how do we decouple our time from our revenue? We transition into the knowledge economy. This is all about scaling your brain rather than scaling your hands.
Okay, let's map out the coaching and consulting model. Let's say you have a decade of experience in supply chain logistics, or maybe you're a fitness expert. You can start by consulting one-on-one over Zoom.
You can, but again, if we're really analyzing the mechanics, one-on-one Zoom coaching is basically just a high-paying job.
You're still trapped by the clock.
Exactly. The true mechanism of scale here is packaging your intellectual property. You use those one-on-one sessions as a laboratory.
To figure out what people actually need.
Right, to learn exactly what your clients consistently struggle with. Then you record that methodology into a digital course.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here, because I hear passive income digital course and my scam radar immediately goes off.
Oh, for sure, as it should.
Right. If a listener pays $1,000 for your expertise, they want you. If you just hand them a login to a bunch of pre-recorded videos, aren't they going to feel incredibly cheated? Like, how do you maintain the value when you remove that personal touch?
And that is the exact trap most creators fall into. They think they are selling videos. You are never selling videos. You are selling a specific transformation.
Okay, so how do you deliver that without being on call 24/7?
To justify a premium price tag in 2025 without sacrificing all your time, you use a hybrid model. You deliver the raw information passively through the videos, but you provide the accountability actively.
Oh, I see. So you build like a private community around the course.
Yes. You use a platform where students can talk to each other, help each other out, and then you host maybe one live group Q&A session a week.
Got it.
So you are spending 1 hour of your time to service 500 students simultaneously. That is asynchronous scale.
That makes a lot of sense. You're selling the outcome, and you're engineering a system that ensures they actually reach that outcome, but without requiring you to hold their hand every single step of the way.
Exactly.
And if we look at scaling digital knowledge, we definitely have to talk about the massive boom in digital marketing agencies, offering SEO, running Facebook ads, managing social media for small businesses.
Which ties perfectly back to those local businesses we just discussed, because they desperately need customers, but they do not understand the internet.
Right. I always hear people describe marketing agencies as selling picks and shovels during a gold rush. But honestly, I think that metaphor is completely played out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I look at starting an agency today as being more of a digital translator.
I like that. How do you mean?
Well, think about it. A local roofer speaks roofing. He knows shingles, he knows weatherproofing, he knows local building codes.
Sure.
But the algorithms at Google and Meta, they only speak data. They speak conversion metrics, click-through rates, pixel tracking.
Right. Totally different language.
Exactly. The roofer has no idea how to log into Facebook Business Manager without losing thousands of dollars to the completely wrong audience. So if you, the listener, can step in and fluently translate between the roofer's business and the algorithm's requirements, you become completely indispensable.
And that is a highly lucrative position to be in because
Yeah.
you aren't just an expense on their balance sheet anymore.
No, you're the revenue engine.
You are the engine generating their profit.
Yeah.
But as with all service businesses, running an agency means dealing with client demands, managing their expectations, and constantly attending meetings.
Always the meetings. Which really begs the question, what if you want absolute anonymity?
Anonymity.
Yeah, imagine you are sitting there right now listening to this, and you just want to build something quietly from your laptop. You don't want to coach anyone on Zoom, you don't want to wash driveways, and you definitely don't want to argue with a roofer about his ad budget.
Ah, I see. Well, if you want to completely remove yourself from the fulfillment process and client management, you enter the product game.
The product game.
Yeah, you sell physical goods, but you do it using the asset-light infrastructure we have in 2025.
Okay, let's talk about e-commerce and dropshipping then. And I'm going to push back hard here because I feel like dropshipping is a relic from, like, 2018.
A lot of people think that.
Right. Everyone and their brother tried opening a generic Shopify store, ran some terrible Facebook ads for cheap phone cases, and just lost all their money. Is this actually still viable today?
So you are absolutely right about the generic general store being dead. If you try to open a website that sells a random assortment of trendy gadgets, you are competing directly with Amazon's shipping speeds and their massive global supply chain.
Yeah, you're never going to be prime.
You will lose every single time. The only way dropshipping survives today, and just as a reminder, dropshipping is the model where a third-party manufacturer holds the inventory and ships it directly to the customer on your behalf.
Right, so you never touch the product.
Exactly. The only way it survives is through hyper-specific niches.
Okay, so instead of selling everything, you sell, I don't know, premium indoor plant care accessories for urban apartment dwellers.
Exactly. Because when your niche is that tight, your marketing dollars become hyper-efficient. But to succeed here, you have to master some very complex technical skills.
Like what?
You have to understand media buying, which is essentially knowing how to mathematically gamble profitably on social media ads so that the cost to acquire a customer is lower than the profit of the item.
That's a steep learning curve.
It is. And you also have to master conversion rate optimization, or CRO.
Right. CRO is basically the psychology of the website itself, right? Like if 100 people click your ad, how do you design the site so that 5 of them actually click the buy button instead of just 2?
Precisely. It involves A/B testing button colors, optimizing load speeds, tweaking copywriting. If you can't master those two mechanisms, media buying and CRO e-commerce will drain your bank account instantly.
But there is a much lower risk entry point into physical products, which is print on demand or POD.
Oh, POD is fantastic for beginners.
Yeah, because you design a cool graphic for a t-shirt, a mug, or a poster, you put it on your site. And you only pay the printing facility to make it after the customer's credit card is actually cleared on your website.
The unit economics of print on demand are brilliant because there is zero upfront inventory cost.
None at all.
If you design a hoodie and nobody buys it, you haven't lost a warehouse full of unsold stock. You only lost the 30 minutes it took to design it on your laptop.
Which allows you to rapidly test hundreds of ideas until the market tells you what it actually wants to buy.
Exactly. It's a volume game until you find a winner.
We're also seeing this incredible rise in the physical crafts and artisanal food sector. People are building massive audiences on Pinterest and Instagram by making custom slow furniture,
Yeah.
like hand refurbished vintage pieces.
Yeah, the artisanal stuff is huge.
Or they're launching niche subscription boxes, curating gourmet snacks or eco-friendly goods.
Now, I want to inject a very serious reality check here, particularly regarding anything consumable, like the food stuff.
Okay, why is that?
Because it is incredibly romantic to think about scaling your grandmother's famous hot sauce recipe online. But food is heavily, heavily regulated.
Right.
You cannot simply cook in your home kitchen and mail it across state lines. You must understand the specific mechanism of local cottage food laws.
What exactly does that entail for someone just starting out?
It means understanding that the health department requires specific labeling, ingredient disclosures, allergen warnings, and very often a certified commercial kitchen space.
Which is expensive to rent.
Very. And if you ignore these regulations and someone gets sick, or honestly, if a local competitor just reports you, your business will be forcibly shut down. The FDA and local health boards don't mess around. You could face severe liability and massive fines.
Wow, okay. So the barrier to entry for food isn't the recipe, it's the compliance.
Absolutely. The compliance is the real hurdle.
That is a critical distinction. So if we step back and look at this entire board of options, from freelance coding to power washing to e-commerce, I want to look at the underlying data of how these are rated.
Sure, let's look at the matrix.
Because here is a massive paradox that always trips people up. Starting a hyper-local landscaping business is generally rated as easy with a low initial cost. But launching a dropshipping store to sell custom-printed mugs is rated as hard with a medium to high cost.
Right.
Why is selling a mug on the internet considered fundamentally more difficult than sweating in the sun hauling landscaping equipment?
It all comes down to the arena you are choosing to fight in. We touched on this earlier with the geographic mode. When you start a local business, your borders protect you.
Right, the Austin, Texas example.
Exactly. If someone's sink is leaking in Ohio, a master plumber in Texas cannot help them. You only have to beat the local competition in your town.
But the internet has no borders.
Exactly. The moment you launch a Shopify store, your arena is the entire globe. You are competing for attention in a social media feed against massive corporations, sophisticated marketing agencies, and millions of other hungry entrepreneurs.
Yeah, you're competing against Nike's ad budget for the same eyeballs.
The digital battlefield is absolutely merciless. The barrier to entry is just an email address, sure, but the barrier to success requires world-class marketing execution.
Let's throw the ultimate outlier into this decision matrix just to completely round out the picture. Software as a service, or SaaS. Basically, building an app.
Oh, SaaS. It's the holy grail of infinite scalability.
Why is it the holy grail?
Because once the code is written, the cost of adding your 10th user is exactly the same as adding your millionth user. You might pay a tiny bit more for AWS server hosting, but it costs virtually nothing in raw materials.
But the difficulty rating for SaaS is universally very hard. Why?
Because the initial capital required to hire good software developers is astronomical if you can't code yourself.
Right.
And because user churn, people constantly canceling their monthly subscriptions, is a constant threat you have to fight. And honestly, finding true product market fit in an app store flooded with millions of solutions is statistically incredibly rare.
So we've walked through the whole matrix. Low cost and easy but capped scale with local services. A high scale but brutal difficulty with e-commerce and software.
Yeah, that's the landscape.
If you are listening to this right now, how do you avoid getting completely paralyzed by all these options?
You rely on the MVP philosophy, the minimum viable product.
Okay, expand on that.
The single biggest mistake a first-time entrepreneur makes is hiding in a cave for 6 months. They spend thousands of dollars trying to build the perfect logo, the perfect website, and the perfect product before ever showing it to a real human being.
Oh, yeah. The perfectionism trap.
Yeah.
So imagine you decide to start a curated subscription box for dog owners. The wrong way to do it is to order 5,000 custom-printed cardboard boxes from overseas and rent a huge storage unit.
Exactly. That's a disaster waiting to happen. The MVP way to do it is to buy 10 blank boxes from the local post office. You go to a pet store, buy some premium treats, pack the boxes yourself in your living room, and see if you can convince 10 people on a local Facebook group to actually give you their credit card number for it.
You find the core essence of your value, and you deliver it with the absolute least amount of friction and cost possible.
Right.
Because you aren't just trying to make a few bucks on day one. You're trying to acquire the most valuable asset in early-stage business, which is raw customer feedback.
You don't have to guess what the market wants. If you put an MVP out there, the market will aggressively tell you what is wrong with it.
People love to complain.
They do. And that feedback is the engine that drives iteration. It tells you exactly how to improve the product so that customer number 11 is easier to acquire than customer number 1.
So, if we synthesize everything we've talked about today, what is the core takeaway for the listener?
The defining insight is that the best business model isn't the one that has the highest theoretical scalability.
Interesting.
A global SaaS app might be mathematically the most scalable, but if you don't know how to code and you have zero capital, it is a terrible idea for you. The best idea is the one that perfectly intersects with your current skills, your available time, and your personal risk tolerance.
It's about finding your specific fit on the matrix.
Yes.
But I want to turn this back to you, the listener. The paralysis by analysis has to end today. You don't need a golden artifact. You just need to pick a model. If you have no money, optimize a Google profile and start a local service.
Right.
If you have deep expertise, record your first coaching video, build your minimum viable product, validate it by getting just one stranger to pay you, and take that step.
And as you take that step, I'll leave you with a final, somewhat provocative thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
We spend so much time in the business world obsessed with the concept of infinite scale. We worship the unicorn tech companies and the massive e-commerce empires. But what if infinite scale is actually a trap?
A trap? How so?
Because scale brings complexity, it brings immense stress and huge overhead. What if the ultimate victory in entrepreneurship isn't building a billion-dollar empire?
Okay.
What if the true victory is finding the exact right manageable scale that affords you the specific personal and financial freedom you actually want? A highly profitable, low-stress local service business running on autopilot might not make the cover of Forbes, but it might give you back your time, your health, and your life.
Wow.
We have to stop assuming bigger is always better and start asking if better is just better.
That is a phenomenal shift in perspective to end on. Profitability isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It is the autonomy it buys you in the real world. If you want to read more, check out our blog at intothemargins.com/playbook.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us on the show today. If you found a margin of profit in today's conversation, please hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives, and drop a comment below. Let us know exactly which of these MVP models you are going to test out this week. And remember, we have a whole back catalog of deep dives exploring the brutal realities and the incredible rewards of running and growing a business, so be sure to check those out. Until next time, stop searching for the perfect idea and start building the viable one. We'll see you next week.